everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving holiday last week. Hope you got to take some time off and spend some time with your family. And of course, markets have been pretty active over this holiday. Black Friday was a rough day for many investors. And this of course was on news that there's a new variant of the thing going around that we can't talk about on YouTube. Friday was a rough day, the worst day for the Dow all year. Crude oil was down over $10 in one trading session, a huge move down, and all of this is on concerns that we may be facing another economic shutdown, lockdowns, etc. Silver and gold have been suffering too. Silver is down under $23 and gold is back down under $1,800 at the time I am making this video. And although precious metals didn't suffer as much as some stocks, and they didn't suffer as much as oil, this is still a noticeable move down. And let's think about that for a minute. What is going to happen moving forward? Well, if this new variant turns out to be bad, we may see another shutdown of sorts. We may see another sharp decline in assets. But I want to ask you a question. If that happens, what do you think the Fed is going to do? Are they going to continue this taper that they just started? Are we going to continue to move towards a liftoff in interest rates? Of course not. They're going to reverse course and try to stimulate the economy as much as possible. And with stimulus, you always need more than you needed last time. And last time was pretty big. So if this news really is bad and everything does drop, don't expect that to last for very long. That will be an enormous buying opportunity because the Fed, they will come out and they will print like there's no tomorrow to reinflate all of these bubbles if the bubbles do look like they're about to pop. Alternatively, this new variant, it may turn out to be nothing, just a blip on the radar, a false alarm, and we'll continue along as we've been going. But in either scenario, we're going to see more money printing. Inflation is going to continue marching higher. It's pretty much already baked into the cake at this point. One thing I did notice over this past weekend was that I was getting a lot of negative comments on many of my videos. People lampooning silver, saying it's never going to move up, that us silver stackers have been stacking metal for years and all of these other assets have gone up while silver and gold have just sort of languished. And this was interesting to me, all of these comments, and it wasn't all negative. There were some positive comments as well, but just the fact that the channel was getting a lot of activity this past weekend because I haven't put a video out in a while. It's been over a week. And usually if I take a break that long from publishing videos, comments and views, they sort of drop off on the channel. And that wasn't the case this past weekend. Lots of people were watching the videos. And one thing that tells me is that when markets start moving, in this case to the downside, people were looking for information. And they may specifically have been looking for information about inflation and precious metals, since those are kind of the topics that I'm covering on the channel most of the time. Now, look, if you've been into stacking metals and you've been disappointed in their performance versus other assets, I've never said to go all in on the metals. If you want to speculate on other assets, there's nothing wrong with that. And at this point, I do think it's important to kind of realize that participating in the stock market and in cryptocurrency markets, it's pretty close to gambling now because those are pretty clearly in bubble territory. But again, there's nothing wrong with trying to get in there and get some gains. But look, if you're buying stocks and cryptocurrencies and speculative assets, and you don't have a core holding of real, tangible, physical money like silver bullion, I think you are making a mistake. And, none of this is investment advice anyway. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and how I view things. And as for me, I view pullbacks in the precious metals like the one we had over the past few days. I view it as an opportunity to stack more. You see, the fact that silver hasn't risen as much as stocks and cryptocurrencies, it simply makes me want to stack metals more. Because as for me, I don't want to buy assets that have already risen and are in bubble territory. I would rather buy an asset like silver that I view as the most undervalued asset in the world, one that has lots of gains ahead of it. And, why is silver so undervalued? Why has the price lagged behind? Why has it underperformed these other assets? Well, part of it, I think, is that the allure of assets like stocks and cryptos, the promises of rapid, massive gains that people see there, and it is true, you might get big gains by buying cryptos and stocks. I think that has kind of drawn away some capital from the precious metals. But the thing is that the risk and the potential for loss at these points with these sky-high valuations in these speculative assets, it's very significant. And I think that the pullback that we saw on Friday is a good indication of this. I mean, we are one bad headline away from an absolutely massive correction in these markets. And current valuations in these risky assets are not based on anything fundamental. They're only a result of the easy monetary policy of the Federal Reserve. And when investors at large get spooked and confidence in our monetary system begins to waver, which hasn't happened yet, but when it does, where do you think all that capital is going to go? Into gold, sure, and also into silver. And silver, folks, it's a tiny market, and when a lot of capital suddenly starts seeking out a safe haven in precious metals, the possibility for a massive move up is there. And another reason silver is so cheap is manipulation. Now, to what degree manipulation is responsible for the price of the metals, that's hard to say, but it is a fact that it is ongoing. JP Morgan just a week ago was fined again for spoofing the precious metals market. They had to pay a $60 million fine for trading activity that occurred between 2008 and 2016. And they're paying the fine, but they admit no wrongdoing. Now, look, if they were manipulating the market from 2008 to 2016, what happened in 2017? You think the folks over at the trading desk at JP Morgan said, hey guys, let's clean up our act and stop this manipulation? Of course not. Look, this is how the system works. The big banks and the trading desks, they manipulate the markets, they skim profits, and then they take a slap on the wrist and they pay some small portion of their illicit gains back in the form of fines. No one's held accountable, the corruption continues, and that's the system we've got. But I say, let them play their game. That's fine. Please, manipulate the paper price of the metals down as low as you want, JP Morgan. I really appreciate the opportunity to stack more physical metal at a discount. That is how you take advantage of this manipulation. When an asset is being held artificially low, that is a good time to buy. Because manipulation of any asset, but especially one like silver that's so critical for so many aspects of industry and the economy, it's not sustainable. And when the manipulation ends, and I don't know how it will end, maybe it'll just be a complete disconnect of the physical and paper prices of silver, which, by the way, we're kind of heading towards anyway. That's why premiums keep going higher and higher. When that happens, the longer and the bigger the manipulation was, the higher the asset will go. So what do you think? Are these pullbacks an opportunity to stack more metal, or are you just disgusted with metals and ready to sell them and go all in on paper assets? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like the video, leave a comment below, and don't forget to click that subscribe button. If you want to see some more videos about precious metals, then check out these here, and I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.